Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we dive deep into fascinating topics to pull out the most important insights for you.
Great to be here.
Today, we're tackling a truly remarkable transformation, one that our sources highlight with a really powerful opening statement. India before 1990 and India after 1990 are much apart.
That's putting it mildly almost. It's a profound shift.
It really sounds like it.
It absolutely is. This isn't just, a minor tweak. It represents a fundamental pivot for the nation, moving from a more centrally controlled, sort of closed economy to one that's far more integrated with the global stage, a whole different ballgame, really.
So our mission today is to take you on a journey through this incredible period of change. We'll extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from our comprehensive stack of sources, so you can quickly understand how a nation can transform so profoundly. We'll use representative examples across various fields in India since 1990.
Sounds like a plan. There's a lot to cover.
There really is. So to truly grasp this transformation, our sources point to India adopting liberal economic policies in 1990 as, well, the pivotal moment.
That's the key date, yes.
But to understand that, we first need to set the historical stage a bit with something called Gate T. What exactly was GATE? And, why was it so important back then?
Well, right after World War II, you had this situation where many countries were imposing pretty heavy duties and taxes on imported goods, basically trying to protect their own industries.
Makes sense on the surface.
Yeah, understandable, but the effect was it really choked global trade. Things slowed down significantly. So to counter this decline, a meeting was convened in Cuba. 56 nations were there.
Okay.
The eventual outcome, after some negotiation, was a legal agreement signed in Geneva. This was back in 1947 by 23 nations initially. And that was the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or TT.
Got it. Its core purpose was basically to foster economic development through increased production and trade. And a big part of that was requiring member countries to treat each other as most favored nations.
Most favored nations. That's an interesting phrase.
Yeah.
What did that mean in practical terms for trade, like day to day?
Think of it like this. If you, say, grant a special trade deal or a lower tariff on a product to one country that's a GATE member, you essentially have to extend that same advantage to all other GATE member countries. No playing favorites, basically.
Okay. So it levels the playing field.
Exactly. It's about making trade simpler and, fairer across the board, reducing those discriminatory practices. This framework laid the groundwork, and they had these annual meetings in Geneva to sort of hash out specific trade issues.
So GATT was the foundation, but it sounds like it wasn't the final, the ultimate solution. It evolved into something much larger, didn't it?
Precisely. GATT eventually broadened out, became part of a far more encompassing organization, the World Trade Organization, the WTO.
The WTO, right.
It was formally established on January 1st, 1995, founded by 123 nations. And its explicit objective was really opening the world for free trade in a much more structured way.
Yeah.
And India, notably, is a proud founding member of the WTO.
Okay. And central to the WTO's establishment was something called the Dunkel Draft. What was the core idea behind that draft? How did it pave the way for liberalization?
Yeah, the Dunkel Draft. It was penned by Arthur Dunkel, who was YT's Director General at the time. It became fundamental to the WTO's whole framework because its central idea, its crux, was this strong emphasis on trade being free from governmental customs duties and other restrictions.
So fewer barriers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That whole concept became famously known as liberalisation. It basically pushed for an environment where goods and services could move across borders much more easily.
And what kind of areas did it cover initially?
It was broad. The initial provisions that the participating countries agreed on covered a huge range of economic activities, everything from grants, export-import policies, foreign investments, to rules around reserve sectors, agriculture, technology, and, importantly, service industries as well.
Wow, okay. So once India became a WTO member and embraced these liberalization principles, how did it really, lean into economic progress? What were the tangible effects we saw?
India's commitment was, pretty profound after joining. The sources particularly credit the vision of the then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao and Finance Minister Manmohan Singh for getting these reforms started.
The figures, then.
Absolutely. And subsequent prime ministers like Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh again continued to deepen this liberalization. The impact was significant and became evident pretty quickly.
How so?
Well, there's a WTO report mentioned in our sources from as early as 2006.
Okay.
And it highlighted India's increasing economic growth rate, a definite surge in investments,
Right.
a measurable fall in the population living below the poverty line, which is huge, also a reduction in infant mortality, and improved access to basic facilities, things like literacy programs, clean drinking water, better drainage systems.
So real improvements in people's lives.
Exactly. India truly entered the global economy by simplifying its import rules and, crucially, by modifying its intellectual property and patent laws to align better with international standards.
That's a powerful picture of economic policy driving change. But, national transformation runs deeper than just economic indicators, doesn't it? How do our sources suggest we can really define and observe this change on the ground beyond just the GDP numbers?
You're absolutely right. It's about a holistic shift, isn't it? We can discern genuine national transformation through, well, visible indicators. Things like development in rural areas or things getting better there.
Yeah.
The condition of the roads, how traffic moves in cities, actual enhancements you can see in urban areas, the efficiency of communication, like can you actually make a phone call easily?
Yeah, the basics.
The modernization of defense, that's another one. And critically, whether citizens feel they can properly avail their rights. If you see positive changes across these diverse areas, then it's pretty clear transformation is happening.
Okay, let's dive into some of the specific areas then. First, rural development. Preventing rural neglect while maintaining balance with urban growth, that sounds like a huge challenge.
Oh, massive.
Our sources show this continuous evolution of programs, often merging earlier ones. How did India approach the monumental task of creating employment opportunities in rural areas?
Yeah, this was definitely a central challenge. And it was addressed through a series of, well, increasingly ambitious initiatives over time. Initially, you had programs like the Pradhan Mantri Rodzgar Yojana, launched back in 1993.
Okay, what was the focus there?
That was aimed more at helping educated youth set up their own private enterprises, create their own jobs.
Right, entrepreneurship.
Exactly. But the sheer scale of rural unemployment, it really calls for a broader approach. So this led to schemes like the Rodzgar Hami Yojana, which actually guaranteed daily wages to unemployed agricultural laborers.
Guarantee. That's
Yeah.
different.
It's a big shift, yeah. From encouraging self-employment to providing guaranteed wage employment. It sort of signifies a learning process in government policy, adapting to the immense needs of rural India.
So it became less about encouraging self-starters, maybe, and more about providing a safety net of guaranteed work. That's a crucial distinction. What about direct support for farmers themselves, not just laborers?
Good point. For farmers, the Kisan Credit Card Plan, introduced in 1998, was a major step.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it offered financial support for, essential equipment, seeds, especially during difficult times. Later, they even added an insurance facility for cardholders. So it was about empowering farmers to manage risk.
Okay.
Additionally, you had these bigger umbrella schemes, like the Suvarna Jayanti Grants Vayam Rodzgar Yojana in 1999, that aimed to consolidate various self-employment and development initiatives.
Bringing things together.
Exactly, showing a move towards more integrated rural programming. And it had a real impact. By 2005-06, it had apparently benefited over 1.2 million individuals.
That progression, from targeted schemes to these larger integrated programs, it tells us a lot about how the government's understanding of rural challenges might have evolved. It sounds like a learning curve moving towards a more holistic approach.
That's a critical observation, I think. What we see isn't just like a random collection of programs. It's a dynamic policy framework responding to the sheer scale and complexity of rural India.
Right.
Initially, maybe the focus was on specific problems, but the continuous merging and evolution, culminating in schemes like the Rashtriya Gramin Rodzgar Hami Yojana in 2006.
Which was the big one.
Yeah, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. That reflects a deeper realization that rural development isn't about isolated interventions. It's about creating a comprehensive safety net and opportunity structure, assuring at least 100 days of work per rural family.
100 days guaranteed.
Per family, yeah. This truly represents a monumental commitment to tackling disparity, poverty, and unemployment on a national level. By 2008, it was covering around 350 districts. Huge undertaking.
Wow. Okay. Beyond just employment, the agricultural sector itself underwent a massive transformation, which is crucial. I mean, you mentioned the figure 54% of India's population involved in agriculture or related sectors back in 2011.
It's a huge part of the economy and, well, daily life for so many. And you see specific schemes targeting agricultural improvement.
Like what?
Well, Things like the Soil Health Card Scheme focused on increasing land fertility and production. Then Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchan Yojana targeted better water supply and irrigation, always critical.
Water, yeah, always key.
Krishi Vikas Yojana promoted organic cultivation, aiming for higher farmer income. And Pradhan Mantri Bima Yojana was vital for farmer economic welfare, basically crop insurance, providing compensation for failures due to natural calamities, pests, that sort of thing.
So managing risks again.
Exactly. And you also have the Indian Council for Agricultural Research, ICAR, and plays a vital role supporting research institutes, organizing exhibitions to get new technologies out to farmers.
And there's a specific strong focus mentioned on indigenous development within agriculture, isn't there? This isn't just about importing modern techniques, but also preserving and leveraging local strengths.
Precisely. That's a really important thread. There's a distinct priority given to indigenous seeds and local cattle breeds.
Why is that important?
Well, they're often better adapted to local conditions, more resilient. Research on goats, for example, has been conducted across India, encouraging goat keeping as a sustainable livelihood, especially for tribal communities.
Interesting.
Indigenous poultry farming has also seen encouragement. And these efforts, combined with others, contribute significantly to India now being one of the leading countries in milk production globally.
Right.
The National Livestock Mission, set up around 2014-15, has further spurred rapid growth in livestock by providing things like fodder and loans. And critically, in fisheries, India now ranks second globally in fish production, just behind China. That's boosted not just by traditional fishing, but also by rapidly growing fish farming or pisciculture.
So agriculture really diversifying and strengthening. Okay, while significant efforts were clearly made to uplift rural India, the rapid economic changes also brought, well, unprecedented growth and challenges to the cities. How did India manage the unique demands of its burgeoning urban centers alongside that rural focus?
That's the other side of the coin, isn't it? For urban development, a cornerstone initiative was the Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, or TONURM. That launched in 2005.
TONURM, okay.
This was designed for the massive modernization of cities, a really holistic approach encompassing everything from road building, improving public transport, to wastewater disposal, sewage systems, and critical housing for the poor. It was an acknowledgement that cities needed fundamental infrastructure upgrades to cope.
Just basic functioning for growing population.
Pretty much. You can't have economic growth without cities that actually work.
And then there's the Golden Quadrilateral, which sounds incredibly ambitious, physically connecting the major urban hubs.
The Suvarna Chatushkan Yojana, announced in 1998, was indeed monumental. Huge project. Managed by the National Highways Authority of India, NHAI. It aimed to create this vast national highway network, about 7,300 kilometers.
Wow.
Linking the four megacities, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. The purpose was clear: provide rapid transportation, including to important port cities, thereby boosting trade and connectivity.
Did it get built?
By 2008, apparently a quarter of this massive network was already complete. It significantly cut down travel times and definitely fostered economic activity between those hubs.
And within the cities themselves, public transport.
Ah, yes. A major shift there came with the Delhi Metro Railway, flagged off in 2002. That has since become an absolute lifeline, hasn't it? Facilitating speedy and smooth transit for millions, not just in Delhi, but as a model for other metropolises too.
Right, metros popping up everywhere now. Okay, communication. You said that's a key indicator. India's postal department has this incredibly long history, established by the British way back in 1766. How did such a, well, traditional service transform itself for modern India?
It underwent a complete metamorphosis, honestly. It's quite remarkable. Once solely focused on delivering letters, the postal department diversified dramatically into comprehensive banking and financial services.
Banking at the post office.
Yeah. They introduced schemes like postal savings accounts, term deposits, the Public Provident Fund, PPF, Kisan Vikas Patra, even the Sukanya Samruddhi account for girls.
Wow.
By 2018, over 23,500 postal offices were integrated into what they call core banking solutions. They even installed ATMs. They offer mutual fund products now, money transfer services for non-resident Indians. It's become a sort of one-stop financial shop in many areas, especially rural ones.
That's a remarkable expansion, and Speed Post must have been a game changer just for the basic delivery side.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It fundamentally reshaped the Indian Postal Service when it launched back in 1986, handling, the sources say, over 3 crore, that's 30 million letters and parcels monthly.
Huge volume.
Massive. And they added things like mobile delivery messages for better reliability.
Beyond that, the department expanded into all sorts of courier services: passport delivery, business parcels, cash-on delivery, logistics post, even air freight. They've even branched out into packaging services.
So competing with private couriers, too.
Correctly. And with 155,000 post offices nationwide, they also facilitate things like utility bill payments and sell unique items like festive greeting cards. They leverage that incredible network.
And our sources mention some truly surprising, almost charming novel services, like delivering Ganges water. That's not something you expect from a postal service.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's an example, I suppose, of catering to unique cultural needs. Since 2016, they've offered this service delivering Ganges water, Ganga Jal, from sacred sources like Rishikesh and Gangotri directly to people's homes. They also offer personalized postage stamps you can use for your own photos, and special schemes for philatelists, stamp collectors, at these post shops in about 80 post offices.
So lately, right.
Yeah, it's a valued international hobby. And the department regularly publishes special limited artistic stamps. Between April 2017 and March 2018 alone, they apparently issued 50 different stamps on themes like Meghalaya caves, rare birds, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Indian cuisine, even Indian headgear.
Wow, diverse.
Yeah, and those Ramayana stamps were even distributed in 40 countries through Indian embassies. It shows this interesting blend of modernization and, well, cultural sensitivity.
Okay, moving to broader economic strategy now. Our sources mention a specific ministry dedicated to disinvestment. What does the very existence of such a ministry tell us about India's economic growth strategy post-1990?
The establishment of a dedicated Ministry of Disinvestment was a very clear signal of India's new economic direction. Its purpose was essentially to manage the gradual withdrawal of government investment from various public sector undertakings, think mining, petroleum refineries, roads, highways, port trusts, telecommunications.
Selling off state assets, basically.
Well, managing the process, yes. Sometimes reducing the government stake rather than outright selling. This was part of that larger strategic shift under what were popularly called the Kalyuga policies. Yeah, it stood for privatization, liberalization, and globalization. That policy trinity fundamentally boosted the confidence of Indian companies. It empowered some of them to establish a significant global presence by actually acquiring foreign companies in sectors like steel, pharmaceuticals, key production, automobiles.
Indian companies buying foreign ones.
Exactly. A big shift. This ministry, by the way, was eventually renamed in 2016 to the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, or DIPAM. Just reflects the evolving nature of that strategy.
Okay. And speaking of India's global economic connections, the BRICS grouping is a prominent example of its growing influence on the world stage.
Yes, definitely. BRICS was established in 2006. Its name, of course, is an acronym of the participant countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Its primary aim is really to enhance trade and cooperation among these significant emerging economies. They hold regular summits. For instance, the 11th BRICS conference in Brazil in 2019 focused on economic growth for an innovative future.
What did they discuss?
Things like technological cooperation, the digital economy, tackling international crime and financial scams. It underscores their collective ambition and, well, their growing global relevance.
Makes sense. Now let's turn to the advancements in science and technology. This is an area where India has made truly remarkable strides, particularly in supercomputing.
India's journey in supercomputing is a real success story, yes. The Param 8000 supercomputer was created with the help of CDAC, that's the Center for Development of Advanced Computing, in Pune.
Param 8000.
Then an advanced version, Param 10,000, with enormous mathematical potential, was built in 1998. And this wasn't just a technical achievement, it strategically enabled India to enter the global computer market and gain a place among the leading countries in computer manufacturing.
So it had real economic implications.
Absolutely. And a further version, the Param supercomputer, was dedicated to the nation in 2003. It shows that continuous innovation.
And the Indian software industry growth, that's almost synonymous with India's post-liberalization story, isn't it?
Right.
What fueled that incredible explosion?
It really was a perfect storm of factors, you could say. The liberalization policy itself was crucial, obviously. That combined with the central government's generally favorable policies towards IT, plus the foresight of Indian entrepreneurs, the nationwide spread of computer and IT infrastructure, and significantly, this large pool of English-proficient computer engineers.
The talent pool.
Exactly. This confluence allowed Indian software exports to just soar, increasing dramatically from around 3.2% to over 25% after 2005.
Internet services began in the metropolises in '95, and by 2004, you had Tata Consultancy emerging as Asia's largest firm providing software services.
TCS.
Yeah. And cities like Pune and Bengaluru rapidly developed into major information technology or IT hubs. Today, Indian IT engineers are in massive demand globally. It's a real testament to that strategic investment and talent.
On a different scientific front, India also demonstrated its nuclear strength on the world stage during this period.
Indeed. India conducted 2 underground nuclear tests at Pokhran in Rajasthan, showcasing its nuclear capabilities to the world. A significant geopolitical statement.
And in space exploration and telecommunications, what were the key developments there?
Well, in 1999, OceanSat-1 was launched. That was specifically designed to collect oceanographic information, highlighting India's focus on applied space technology, not just, prestige projects.
Using space for practical means?
Right. In telecommunications, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Ltd, BSNL, was established in 2000. That was to provide cellular phone services, internet, broadband, marking a big step in democratizing access to modern communication across the country.
DSNL, yeah.
And you also have the Indian Science Congress Association, which actually goes way back to 1914. It continues to promote scientific research. And it's notable that Asima Chatterjee became the first female scientist elected as its general president in 1975, a real landmark.
That's great. Now, India's entry into commercial space research, winning contracts by quoting reasonable rates. So that's a striking example of its growing global capabilities. How did India become so competitive in such a highly specialized market?
This is where India's strategic approach, mixing indigenous capability with cost-effectiveness, really paid off. In 2007, India successfully launched an Italian satellite commercially.
Uh-huh.
Now, apparently, other nations quoted significantly higher rates. India secured the contract by offering competitive pricing and still managed to earn considerable profit.
Smart business.
Very. And this wasn't out of the blue. It was built on prior successes. India had already launched satellites for countries like Argentina, Belgium, South Korea, Indonesia, Germany. So the ability to offer reliable, cost-effective launches combined with that homegrown technological prowess made India a formidable player.
And this expertise extends to ambitious domestic projects, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Most famously, Chandrayaan-1 in 2008, India's first lunar probe, which collected evidence suggesting water on the moon. That was huge. And followed later by Chandrayaan-2 and the Mars orbiter mission, Mangalyaan. Real milestones.
Incredible achievements. And back down on Earth, a technological innovation that aids democracy itself. The voter-verified paper audit trail, or VVPAT machine. How does this technology bolster the electoral process?
The VVPAT machine is a crucial piece of technology for transparency, especially in a democracy the scale of India's. The government first started using it for the Nagaland Assembly elections back in 2011, and it's been widely implemented for the national Lok Sabha elections since 2019. Its function is straightforward, but absolutely vital. After a voter casts their electronic vote, a little slip is printed showing their selection, which they can see for a few seconds behind a glass screen.
So you get confirmation.
Exactly.
Yep.
It allows the voter to visually confirm their choice was recorded correctly. This reinforces trust and helps ensure accountability in the whole electoral system. Really important for confidence.
Definitely. Okay, turning our attention to defense now. The Kargil War in 1999 seems to have been a significant catalyst for modernizing India's military capabilities.
It was indeed a major turning point. Pakistan's intrusion into the Kargil Dras area of Ladakh escalated into a serious conflict, known as Operation Vijay by the Indian Army, which was ultimately successful in repelling the intruders.
Right.
This war, however, served as a stark wake-up call. It really emphasized the urgent need to modernize the Indian military equipment, arms, training, doctrine, the whole lot. It intensified the processes of updating across the board, and it underscored the strategic importance of indigenous capabilities.
And India has made remarkable strides in indigenous defense production since then, perhaps most notably building its own nuclear submarine.
Yes, that was a huge milestone. In 2009, India successfully built its first indigenous nuclear submarine, the Strategic Strike Nuclear Submarine of the Ariane class.
Ariane.
Its first patrol round was completed with some cooperation from Russia. But this achievement places India as only the 6th country globally to develop the indigenous technology for building nuclear submarines. And significantly, private Indian entrepreneurs were also involved in the project.
So public-private partnership there, too.
Yeah, it aligns perfectly with the broader Make in India initiative, which emphasizes indigenous production using homegrown technology across various sectors, very much including defense.
Beyond just the hardware, there's also been an increased focus on human capital in the military, particularly the inclusion of women.
Absolutely. That's been a noticeable shift. There's a growing emphasis on recruiting women officers across the services. In 2016, for instance, the Indian Air Force commissioned its first 3 women fighter pilots, Avani Chaturvedi, Pavana Kant, and Mohana Singh. A real landmark moment.
Definitely.
And interestingly, the sources note that the Indian military is also the first globally to train foreign women officers, specifically mentioning those from the Afghan Air Force being trained in Chennai.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And women can join various branches through the main UPSC examinations, with some reserve seats available through NCC training as well. So opening up more avenues for contribution.
And combined military exercises with other nations seem to have become more common too. What's the strategic benefit of these joint drills?
These combined exercises with militaries from countries like Oman, Nepal, Mongolia, the USA, Sri Lanka, Russia, Bangladesh, England, quite a diverse list. They're increasingly vital.
Why so?
Well, they offer invaluable opportunities for technological exchange, first off. Forces get to learn new problem-solving methods, improve interoperability, just learning how to work together effectively. They also provide an impetus for further research in arms modernization. And significantly, they enhance capabilities in fighting specific threats like terrorism, especially in challenging environments like mountains or semi-urban areas. It's really about building shared expertise and readiness for modern challenges.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears slightly. India has the largest proportion of young people in the world, a truly significant demographic asset. How are youth-related policies leveraging this immense potential for national development?
Yeah, the demographic dividend, as it's often called. Our sources define youth generally as individuals in the 15-29 age group, and they recognize their enormous potential if provided with proper education and skill training. That's the key caveat.
Right. Potential needs nurturing.
Exactly. Early initiatives like the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, established way back in 1972, set up centers for skill training. Its programs eventually merged into the broader National Youth Empowerment Program.
And what does that program cover?
It has a pretty broad focus, actually, covering things like literacy, education, health and hygiene, family welfare, environment preservation, raising awareness on social issues, rural development, and promoting self-employment. Quite a holistic approach, trying to nurture this demographic dividend from multiple angles.
Are there specific national observances or festivals dedicated to youth, things to foster a sense of national identity and showcase talent?
Yes, absolutely. January 12th, which is the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, is observed as National Youth Day, meant to inspire young people through his philosophies.
Okay.
And every January, there's a National Youth Festival celebrated. It's jointly organized by the central government of India and one of the state governments each year. It provides this vibrant platform for young individuals to showcase their artistic, cultural, intellectual talents.
Like a national talent show.
Kind of, yeah, but broader. And the Youth Hostels Association of India also plays a role, managing around 83 youth hostels across the country at minimal rates, actively encouraging adventure skills and travel. Plus, formal training programs are arranged through well-known organizations like Bharat Scouts and Guides, the National Service Scheme, or NSS, and the National Cadet Corps, NCC, offering structured development paths.
Lots of avenues then. Okay, now let's shift to a landmark legislative change. The Right to Information Act of 2005. This seems like a monumental step for citizen empowerment and transparency in governance.
It truly is transformative, a cornerstone of modern Indian democracy, many would argue. While the concept isn't entirely new, a similar act was first applied way back in Sweden in 1776, and the UN declared right to information a fundamental human right in 1946.
Right.
Its implementation in India was really the culmination of a powerful grassroots domestic movement.
What were some of the key moments or figures that spearheaded this movement in India? How did it come about?
It gained momentum from diverse sources over time. It arguably started with an individual named L.K. Kulwal in Jaipur back in 1982. He simply initiated the process by applying to know about the municipal corporation's cleaning work in his area.
Simple beginnings.
Exactly. A high court verdict then affirmed right to information as part of the fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. Then in 1990, you had Aruna Roy founding the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan, which advocated forcefully for the act's necessity, particularly for rural workers trying to access information about wages and programs.
Okay.
There was also Harsh Mander, who, while serving as a divisional commissioner in Balaspur, courageously disclosed official information related to a food grains for daily wages program. highlighting the practical need for transparency from within the system.
Wow.
And of course, Ansar's struggle in Maharashtra in 2001 played a really decisive role, bringing the issue to national prominence and creating immense public pressure. The act was finally implemented across India, including Maharashtra, on October 12, 2005.
So what exactly does information encompass under this act? Is it just government documents? And what specific rights does it grant citizens?
The definition of information under the act is incredibly broad and comprehensive. It's not just final documents. It includes official records, yes, but also things like memoranda, emails, opinions, advice, press releases, circulars, orders, logbooks, contracts, reports, papers, samples, models, data held in electronic form.
So pretty much everything.
Almost anything held by a public authority. And crucially, it even includes information relating to private bodies which can be accessed by a public authority under any other law.
Okay. And the rights?
The Act grants citizens robust rights. The right to inspect work, documents, records, the right to take notes, extracts, or certified copies, the right to obtain certified samples of material, and the right to obtain information in electronic formats like printouts, diskettes, floppies, tapes, video cassettes, or any other electronic mode.
How do you actually use it?
Citizens can obtain this desired information simply by submitting a written application or electronically to the designated Public Information Officer, or PIO, of the relevant public authority, usually with a small fee. It's designed to be a powerful, accessible tool for accountability.
Definitely sounds like it. Finally, let's look at the internal political geography of India, the reorganization of states, particularly around the year 2000 and more recently. How did this impact the nation's administrative structure?
The year 2000 was indeed significant for new state formations. This was often driven by long-standing demands for administrative convenience, cultural identity, or focused development based on regional aspirations. It involved dividing some very large, often geographically and culturally diverse states like Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar.
Which new states were formed then?
Chhattisgarh was carved out of Madhya Pradesh on November 1, 2000. This fulfilled a demand that actually dated back to before independence. Uttarakhand, which was initially called Uttaranchal, was formed from Uttar Pradesh on November 9, 2000. That was after a demand from the people of the Garhwal and Kumaon regions that went back to the 1930s.
Long time coming.
Very. And Jharkhand was created from the southern part of Bihar on November 15, 2000. Its demand for statehood was first staged way back in 1929, often linked to tribal identity and resource control. So this reorganization aimed to improve governance and better address these specific regional needs.
And there was a more recent and quite prominent state formation as well, wasn't there?
Yes, Telangana. That was formed on June 2, 2014. It was previously the Telugu-speaking region of Andhra Pradesh. The Telangana Rashtra Samiti Party spearheaded the movement for its creation. The central government announced the decision back in 2001, but it took until 2014 for Parliament to finally approve the bifurcation, making it India's 29th state at the time.
Okay. And perhaps one of the most significant and widely discussed recent reorganizations involves Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. This has been a topic of, well, much debate.
Yes, it's highly significant. Historically, the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which included the region of Ladakh, was granted a special status under Article 370 of the Indian Constitution.
Right, Article 370.
Now, there was a long-standing demand, particularly from groups like the Jammu Project Parishad, established by Prem Nath Dogra in 1947, for the state's complete accession to India without special status. Their motto was famously, Ek Vidhan, Ek Pradhan, Ek Nishan, one constitution, one premier, one flag.
Full integration.
That was the call. Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee also strongly supported this complete merger. Fast forward to more recently, in August 2019, the government of India revoked the special status granted under Article 370.
Okay.
And subsequently, from October 31st, 2019, the former state was restructured into two separate union territories, one called Jammu and Kashmir, and the other called Ladakh, a major redrawing of the map in that region.
What an incredible journey we've taken today, seriously. From that foundational economic liberalization back in 1990 through these profound transformations in, well, almost everything. Rural and urban development, a revolution in communication, astounding leaps in science and defense, empowering India's massive youth population, enshrining citizen rights with things like the RTI Act, and even redrawing the internal administrative boundaries. India has truly undergone a vast, multifaceted transformation in, well, a remarkably short period, historically speaking.
It's an extraordinary testament, really, to how a nation can evolve and adapt, sometimes rapidly.
Understanding these specific and tangible changes, from the big macroeconomic shifts right down to the granular details, local schemes or technological advancements, it helps paint a far clearer picture of modern India's dynamic journey and its inherent complexities, too.
Absolutely. It's not just a simple story.
Far from it. It's not just a collection of facts. It's a living, breathing history unfolding with successes, challenges, and ongoing evolution.
So, what does this all mean for you, our listener? As you reflect on this deep dive, consider this. Given the diverse ways a nation can transform, as we've explored today with India post-1990, what current global trends or maybe local initiatives where you are do you believe are setting the stage for the next monumental transformation? And maybe more importantly, how might we measure their ultimate impact years from now?
That's a fascinating question to ponder. What are the seeds of the next big shift?